welcome to this evening's Broken Bane. We are very excited to play tonight. We're all looking forward to a little bit of distraction. So, hang out and enjoy. Please remember that at the end of the stream, I will be asking my players for good role-playing moments. I would love any additions from chat, so I'll remind you all about that at the break as well. Alright, let's see. It's Saturday. We are playing Broken Bane. I've got all my lovely players here today. I am not seeing web captions from two of you, I just realized. Can we make sure Winnie and Yume, I see Yume's just popped up. Winnie, can you make sure yours have been started?
I did not hit start before, but now I have.
Got it. Okay, I've got web captions for everybody. That is fantastic. Okay, so who remembers what y'all did last time?
Made friends.
You made friends.
And lost a friend.
And lost a friend. Yep, one of your friends popped out of existence. A crackle of blue lightning, I'm gonna say. Because why not? She does everything with a crackle of blue lightning. But never fear, all of my campaigns, when that happens, they come back. So, you know, the player can trust that she'll come back. The stream can trust that. You made new friends with Aelia. That's how we're pronouncing that, right?
That is right.
Great. So we do have some beautiful new art we're going to add to the stream soon. I don't have the right files yet. My apologies. That was my bad. A bit of a long week for me, so we'll get those in there for next week. Let's see. What else? What else did you do?
We observed the magical textile industry.
Took a tour of a magical loom factory.
Yep. Yep, that's true.
Found out that they can't fix them.
Yep. True.
And there's a lot of hullabaloo about some caverns or caves on the side of the town that the looms supposedly came from, but nobody wants to go in there.
Why doesn't anyone want to go in there?
Because nobody comes out.
There it is. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to add? Before I go into what I captured from what you learned and what the role-playing point is for this week? Alright, we've got, so I captured that y'all learned this town has magical looms that they don't know how to fix and they're breaking. They seem nonchalant about the caverns, but they are actually very afraid. You met 3 sisters who are all identical, and Aelia has questions. That's all I wrote down. I don't actually know what your questions are. Aelia thinks these people are really good. They really seem interested in helping people. I think you were referring to the Broken Bane group for that one.
Yes.
Yeah, hospitality seems important to this family. I believe you were referring to the triplets. Fabrics really are amazing and elaborate as rumors say. And the machines it's ancient machinery, refined magics that people don't understand and used to be in the caves. The role-playing point went to Aelia for saying, there are things I need to learn about, but danger is not one of them. Which was an excellent line. Honorable mentions were Battle and Aelia having that moment where they swapped backgrounds. They really connected for a moment. That was a very solid role-playing bit. We also saw Dandy checking the mood of Louise and being able to transmit the conversation to Yume. Dandy is a very useful little thing. And Yume saying the innkeeper was so nice when she knew the innkeeper would overhear. That was a really good moment as well. Alright, so you are fairly caught up. You were heading back to the inn. You wanted to have... I need to have a combo. Oh, you were heading back to the inn. You wanted to wait for the Makers Guild or whatever to come chat with you, because you overheard about the caverns and you overheard that you might be asked to go to help somehow. But before just wandering off, y'all decided that you wanted to have like a cover conversation so it all made sense. Does that sound right? Sorry, my brain's a little foggy today. If I'm saying things weirdly, please clarify for me. I appreciate it.
It seems the guild was going to have a meeting, so he couldn't, they were shooing us out and needed to talk amongst themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we also overheard that they would likely be coming to ask us for help because we are the adventuring types new to the area.
Yep.
So instead of wanting to not be suspicious that we knew what their game was, what their plans were, we just do things that they would expect and wait for them to come to us.
Yeah, I think that sounds right. Now, in the last session, you had started out pretty much right after breakfast. I think probably your tour would have taken you right up to about lunchtime. So let's say when you get back to the inn, you're encouraged into the common room and food is happening. Does that sound reasonable? Does anybody want to run up to their room or go whack a dummy in the stable yard or anything like that? No? I'm
No,
seeing
sounds
head
good.
shakes. Okay. All right. Okay, so food is happening. That's exciting. Do you all want to have a conversation? You want me to do the next thing? You want to chat with each other about what you just saw, or you want to Yume, do you want to go into a little more detail on what you saw or anything like that?
I think I don't think we need to talk it through in character, but Yume definitely says everything that the players heard last time. Yume isn't hiding any of it.
Mm-hmm.
She will talk about it with everybody to let them know what's going on.
Got it. Okay. Cool. All right, so the innkeeper is going to come up to you. She's actually going to bring you probably a round of drinks of some kind. She says, "This is a." She says this is a strawberry ale. It's very light on the alcohol side, but it's got a really nice flavor. It's on the house. It's new. I'd love to hear what y'all are thinking about it. And then she sort of hovers for a moment. And she says, "So, how was the tour?"
The tour was good. We enjoyed seeing the looms.
They are something, aren't they? I was never really, maker-oriented myself. I'm much more comfortable here, but they are incredible pieces of machinery, aren't they?
I was very impressed.
And my sister, she took care of you, right?
Oh yes, she's
Yeah,
very
she was
nice.
very nice.
She got a little flustered at the end. She had to run off, so hopefully we can meet her. I'd be happy to meet her again when she's not so stressed out by work. It seemed very sudden at the end.
Oh, yes. Louise gets so flustered about that place. She's the head loom mistress in that warehouse. She's on the Makers Guild or whatever they do over there. And she and my sister both are in on this. And I don't know. They've been all kerfluffled about something lately. Does anyone want to roll an insight check?
Absolutely.
All right. Roll them bones. What do we got? I'm playing with a new set of Die Hard dice tonight, so I picked these up a little while ago. I'm pretty excited about them. Don't show up
Nice.
super well on the camera, but the edges are like a pearly white and of course a dark purple.
19 for battle?
Got it. Cool. What else we got?
21 for Winnie.
Okay. Insightful bunch.
16 for Aelia.
Not bad. You may?
14.
Okay. So, it's pretty obvious to, sorry, I'm having horrible issues with names today. Those two. Battle and Winnie. It's very obvious to Battle and Winnie that she knows what's going on with the looms and she's acting dumb. Like the whole I've never been in that's probably true, but she's using it to obfuscate the fact that she knows all about it. Aelia picks up on this as well. You have a little bit of a tougher time, but it's as she continues talking, you put the pieces together because she keeps sort of babbling on about it. from what you're picking up, it becomes fairly clear that probably the whole town knows this and is in on this and is deliberately trying to keep it from visitors and stuff. Because she's talking about, like, oh, they always get all up in arms about these kinds, you know, something like this every couple of weeks or months or whatever. It's a cycle, and they always find some way to fix it. It's nothing, you know, just ignore her, that kind of thing.
Oh.
It's gotta be
Seeing
a
as
lot
I've
of
been,
I didn't see who spoke first.
Better.
Aaliyah, go.
Oh.
I was just gonna ask a question. Seeing as I've been around in the town for a while, and I met the party at the train station, would I have sort of an idea that this is actually quite novel?
Yes.
I haven't seen this sort of stress before. Okay.
Actually, yes. You're pretty clear on, like, whatever is happening started happening, like, in the last couple of days. Like, you've been seeing mounting tensions. But this is the first time you really picked up on what it was. You were seeing people be a little, like people. I mean, given your background, you can tell when people are tense, right? So
Yeah.
when you first came into town a couple days ago, oh, we got a new follow. Thank you. I don't know how to pronounce that. Captain Spass, I guess. I don't want to pronounce it incorrectly. My apologies. Thank you for following. So when you came into town a couple days ago, people were generally calm and friendly, and then throughout, as the days went by, they were still friendly, but there was underlying tension. No one gave you any indication. You probably weren't asking the right questions, right? No one gave you any indication until now, after the morning you've had and the innkeeper now talking to you. This must be what has been behind the mounting tension, and that backs up some of the stuff she's saying, right? Like, collectively, y'all are realizing the town knows about this and they're trying to keep it from visitors. Battle, what were you gonna say?
I was just commenting about how it has to be a lot of upkeep with those old looms.
One more time? Sorry, my ability
That's
to
okay.
input audio into my own brain is broken. Say that again?
It's innate. I said it has to be a lot of upkeep for those looms.
Yes, the innkeeper says, I wouldn't know. I mean, the beer vats we have here take a lot of upkeep, so I can assume she's trying too hard, right? And she kind of goes on in that vein for a while and is trying to and the beer vats are really interesting too. Like, we designed those ourselves. You're drinking a product of it right now. What do you think of the strawberry ale? Like, she is just hard lefting away from that topic.
Did your beer vats come from the caves?
She goes, no.
Are they magical?
No. All just elbow grease and love. Those are our secret ingredients. No, my husband and my oldest son designed those. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my son is he's a genius. I'll just tell you. And she starts going off down that road. Moms, geniuses, that stuff. I'm not a mom. I just assume that moms are like, my kid's a genius. You know, that's like a trope. She's troping. She's troping into my kid's a genius.
It is delicious, thank you.
Are you picking up more sweet or spice is not the word I want.
Malty.
Tangy? Is it more sweet or tangy?
There we go.
Sweet or sour? That's what I was looking for. Jeez. Wee.
It's very sweet, and that is my preference. So thank you.
Wonderful. And the rest of y'all, is it too sweet? Is it too sweet for anybody? Because I've actually got something I can mix in that would just cut that sweetness right out. It's another ale we have that's a little too light on its own. She will now babble about ale as long as you let her.
I take a sip and I'm like, I prefer the one you gave me last week. Do you have any of that one left?
And she says, oh,
that was amazing.
The peach one, actually, I love that one. So I set aside a little cask. If you'd like, I can bring you a cup, but I'm only going to bring you a cup because I love that. But I'll share with you. I like you.
Oh, yes, please. You're so great at crafting.
I'll be right back.
Beverages.
And anybody need anything else? She's bustling off to get you that mug.
Maybe some more water for the dog?
Of course, of course. Actually, I've got some, sheep bits, that we don't put in the stew. Does she like those?
Sheep bits sound great.
I'll bring those. I'm going to disguise the fact that I cannot think of words tonight with folksy sayings. Secrets of being a GM. So she bustles off. Just an insider thing. I am basing all of these ales off of the tea that I've been trying lately. So there you go. So she bustles off. The room around you has workers, right, on their nooning is what they tend to call it in these types of towns, and so they're all, in little groups. There's nobody sitting by themselves. They all seem to be paired or in little threesomes, and they're all eating the same kind of food. It looks like lunch is just whatever's in the pot plus some bread and butter, and this whatever ale. I think it sounds like they probably put their experimental ales out at lunchtime. That seems to be fairly common here.
So I was hoping to catch her again, if she catches my eye again, and sort of bring in my reference to last week. The mood was so different.
Yeah, she will absolutely come back. I want to make sure if anybody wants to say anything while she's not around. I'm being a little heavy-handed tonight. I'm sorry. Bear with me. Okay, so if nobody wants to say anything, so she'll come right back. She's got 2 bowls. You don't know how she's doing this. She's balancing 2 bowls and a mug, and she comes down and she sets the mug down on the table, and it almost looks like she's gonna drop the bowls, but instead of dropping them, she catches them in the 2 hands and she sets them down by Shy, and she puts a hand out like she's gonna pet her and then pulls it back and says, "Nope, that's a working dog, isn't she? Can I pet her? So I don't mean to. You know what? Never mind. That's okay. She's a working dog. Don't worry about it." And she nudges the cup over to Aelia and is like, "Yeah, try that. Yeah, how's that? It's been sitting for a week, so it's got a little more tang to it. What do you think?"
I think Shy's gonna indicate to her. I think Shy wants to alert to her stress.
That sounds right? Because Shy's, one of the interesting things about Shy is she's still bonding to you. Mechanically, that's not a thing, right? But I think we can say she was trained as a working dog. She was trained to respond to stress, right? And as time goes by, she may become more focused on you. She might keep her generalness. That's going to be up to you. Yeah. So I think that makes sense. How would Shy alert to this?
I think Shy would have seen her reach down and kind of be... I don't know if frenetic is the word, but this is how I'm imagining it. She's just kind of stressful and flighty. She's
pushing up her sleeves and tucking them, and she's retying her apron and brushing off invisible flour and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just the hesitancy and the back and forth and the bowls.
Yeah.
So maybe she'll start just kind of leaning up against her and nudging her hand and being like, "Excuse me, you offered."
When she does that, when Shy does that, the innkeeper's gonna look at you and be like, "Is it okay if I pet her? I don't want to."
You should. It's okay.
Oh, great. And she starts to pet her, and it's very clear that she's probably not super familiar with dogs. She might even have been afraid of dogs in the past, but she's getting along really well with Shy. She pets her, and she sort of calms down a little bit.
The peach ale is delicious. I recall when we shared a cup last week, and I have to say I didn't feel any of the mood in the town that we have today, and I've been here a while.
She claps. She kind of puts her hands together, and she's like, "Yeah, I don't really know what that's about. I think it has something to do with." The makers and stuff, but they get all into a kerfuffle these times a year, and yeah, but I'm
no, is everybody out of sort because we came into town? Are we disturbing everyone? Did we make things worse?
No, my dear, of course not. No. We have travelers all the time. It's part of what the town's built on, really. That tour you took this morning, we actually offer that usually to newcomers for a penny and a bit or whatever they charge over there. And it's a whole thing, you know. They come through some of the inns, and, you know, Louise will bring people through here and do the tour and then drop them off for lunch. And it's a whole, you know, traveler thing. That's not a problem at all. No, and y'all have been nothing but a delight. You haven't caused any problems, have you? I know I'm playing an anxious person, but that's a good.
And
alert.
I want to reassure her, like, this group is such a helpful group. And, you know, I've heard about this group. I was so excited to meet them, and I know that they're known for doing great things to help others.
Oh, well, that's really good to
subtly,
hear.
Or not subtly.
Now,
where
are y'all from?
All over.
A long way
you
from
know, around.
Here and there. My baby service dog alerted to the anxiety I was playing, which is interesting because the other one does it off of not my tone, because my tone's not always spot on when I'm anxious. So it's funny she picked up on it. You're a good girl. So I have to heavily reinforce it because she's still a baby. So thank you for being patient with that. So she's gonna keep reassuring you, and she'll ask little questions, and there are people flagging her down. So she's gonna say, "Oh, you know what? I need to get them some more of this. They really like it. But if y'all need anything, you let me know." And she's gonna bustle off if nobody stops her.
I have one more question.
Oh yes, what can I do?
Who's in charge around here? Not in this restaurant. You're lovely. I'm not trying to report on you. I just was curious who's kind of the leader of the town.
Well, that's interesting, right? Because the whole town's really built around those dumb looms and everything. And so really the Makers Guild is in charge, if you will, but a committee running anything is nonsense. So there is a mayor. He himself is a maker. So you see the way the town leans and all, right? Yeah. He's if Louise says they were going into a meeting, he's probably busy right now. Did you want to talk to the mayor? I know that his assistant will make appointments and stuff. He loves to meet the people coming through the town.
I kind of look around, hoping for reassuring glances from the party before I say anything.
I mean, if you make eye contact with me, I sort of shrug.
Well, that's not
whatever
a no.
you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's meet him. I'd love to meet the mayor.
Oh, well, you know what I'll do is I'll send a note over around to his assistant. My kitchen boy knows her. Yeah. So I'll send him around. Anytime in particular? You know what I could do is I could have him try and swing around for supper. He likes to have dinner, you know, at some of the other establishments, and he hasn't been around here in a while. I could give him the strawberry ale. Yeah, how about that? I'll bring him by for dinner. I'll have him stop by for dinner. Does that sound all right?
We don't have any other plans.
Great. Yeah, okay. I gotta run. Let me just go take care of that gentleman, and I'll have that note sent out right away. Let me know if you need anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Off. Good girl. And she bustles off, and you see her. She's still. She doesn't bustle off and then disappear. You see her moving around. There's, it's her and two young women that look like her, serving and that kind of thing. Keeping the ales topped off, and you need more bread, and has that butter and that whole shebang.
How much do they look like her?
They are younger, enough to seem like daughters, but not identical. It's an interesting question. Yes, it's a town of clones. The mayor's just going to be another copy dressed in men's clothing, that's all.
I'm ready for you, gentleman jacket. I'm here. I'm ready.
No, they just look like her daughters.
Okay.
Subscribing to the theory that children look like their parents, which I don't usually agree with anyway, but this family looks run true. I don't know. I'm okay. Lay down. Lay down.
So, what would you all like to do while we wait?
We've got a town to explore. We can skip forward in time. Y'all can go up to your rooms and have a conference. You can tell me you want to practice a new move. I know a bunch of you just leveled. If you, and by a bunch of you, I mean all of you, except for Aelia built her character at this level. If y'all want to story through any of the changes you made to your character, that would be great. I haven't looked at those changes, so my bad, but I'll make something up on the spot. I've been getting better at that. So if you want to, you've got a whole afternoon, if you wanted to be like, I'm going to sit in a room and stare at a rune I draw on the wall and learn the potency of water. I don't care. Those are some options. You can go flirt with the kitchen boy, or I don't know. Do you want to go buy a new knife or check out the local hostelry? You've a million options, or we can skip forward in time.
I love all of these ideas.
I've been practicing random encounter lists because I've lost a couple, and so my brain is firing in too many directions.
The unfortunate fact is I have no idea what to do other than wait until something happens to us, because unless we want to just go into the cavern.
See,
but all of those sounded incredible as things that I won't do, but are really cool.
Well, here's an interesting point. I'm glad you brought that up, right? Like, there are GMs that will be like, okay, this is going to happen and you can react to it. This is going to happen and you're going to react to it, you know. And then occasionally you get those inevitable shopping episodes where somebody does want to buy something and it turns into a session, right? And then the player tends to be like, what's in this shop? And the GM has to be like, I don't know. One of the things I like to do is to ask my players if they do want to do anything. And with some of my, with the other two groups that I have that have been playing for quite a bit longer than y'all have, they're used to it at this point. So if I start asking those kinds of questions, one of them has an idea. So I consider this sort of priming the pump, right? I'll start asking these kinds of things for the down times, but I'll always give you the option to skip forward in time to something happening to you, right? But I like the idea of maybe battle is like, you know what, I want to go work with Shy out in the stable yard. She's been a little skittish around horses, so we're gonna do lots of puppy push-ups around horses. You know, maybe Winnie's like, the grip on my battle axe is loose and I've got to tie that, or it could mean losing a kneecap, right? Maybe D&D has Yume has a ritual she wants to run with D&D, or like maybe there's a sort of a communication thing y'all do where you like cuddle and your bond is stronger or something. Maybe Aelia as a... God, crap, I'm still conflating the two characters you're playing in the two different campaigns I know about. You're a monk in this one, right?
Yes.
Yes. Maybe Aelia wants to go stand in a beam of sunlight and do Tai Chi. There's all kinds of things y'all could do. I want you to think about that as we move forward, because it's good character building. If you're trying to, if you have to think about what a character would do in downtime, right? That's a good character building moment. Anybody have any ideas along those lines?
I'd love to walk the street and see how many people look alike.
Aha! Excellent. Okay. Great.
And I'd be very happy to take them on a short tour. I know the town a little bit, and I know just a walk just long enough that we shouldn't miss things if anybody comes back to fetch us.
Perfect. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because you've been here for a couple of days. Any objections? Everybody want to go along with that?
Yeah, I think Winnie wants to go along and kind of keep an eye out for any other furbolgs that might be familiar.
You're from pretty far away from here, aren't you, Winnie? Okay.
Yeah.
Would there be a reason for furbolgs you know to be in this town?
No. I think, it's one of those things where you're just kind of like, even if you're traveling in like France or something like that, you kind of always are like, what if I'm gonna run into anybody that I know randomly? Like, I don't know. That's something that I personally do when I'm out traveling. I always keep an eye open for familiar faces.
That is fascinating. I don't do that unless I'm at PAX. That's a defense mechanism because people will walk up to me and be like, "How are you?" And I'll be like, "I have no idea who you are."
On the opposite side of the coin, I don't know if this is still important to Winnie, but you were also, weeks ago, you were also looking out for possible other fearbolgs because of that one family you were pretending to be that is apparently real, unless the person responding to it was also just going along with the made-up name.
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know if we know for sure if that's a real Firbolg clan or family or not, or if that was totally made up.
That's an interesting point.
That is true.
Yeah. I
Not
don't...
that we want the episode to necessarily go there, but we could also keep our eyes peeled for a clothing shop in case we want to find Winnie some new clothing.
I think by this point, Winnie just changed back into her traveling clothes.
Okay.
All right, let's go for a walk.
All right, so you're all going to go for a walk. The innkeeper, she waves as you head out, and yells something like "dinner's at 6" or whatever. I believe I said the street you were on had a bunch of different inns on it at the end that you're at. Lord, I have got to stop yawning. And then as you get, and it dead ends at an inn. As you move back up the street, you're getting established shops like shoemakers and like a pottery shop and things like that. And then as you get closer to like where the crossroads would be, where two roads meet, that's where you're gonna get the sidewalk, like on the side of the road with little displays with like fruits and stuff, like a farmer's market type feel. Battle, roll me an investigation check, because you're looking for people that look the same, right?
Yes,
Looking
I
for more
am.
clones.
Just add my stuff. All the clones. Investigation 21.
21. So I'm gonna spit a bunch of stuff out, but if any of it sounds wrong, let me know. Would it be all right if Battle actually was a little overwhelmed by the amount of people in this area? Because I remember you saying she's a bit of a loner, right? But in this case, it's an advantage because instead of, walking down a street and calmly just sort of taking in the sights, your eyes are kind of everywhere, right? And does that sound right? And Battle, would it make sense for Battle to sort of grab details fairly easily, right? Like to focus on like eye shapes and stuff like that. So you see, as you're walking, we'll say this is the first 30-40 minutes y'all are walking. You get down that street and you're moving fairly slowly because y'all are looking at things and Aelia's pointing stuff out and giving a short tour, and you see a shoemaker, and then down the road you see, like in one of the little farmer's market things, guy selling cucumbers or whatever. They actually looked fairly identical. They weren't wearing the same clothing, right? But from what you could see, the jaw and the eyes and the nose all had kind of the same face. Then you keep looking and you catch a little girl running through the street, and behind her, it almost was like deja vu, right? Like a little girl runs across the street, and then before you can get into that space, another little girl darts across in front of you. Those are identical twins as well. You catch sight of 3 or 4 other identical twins and what you think might be a set of triplets.
Or we're in the Matrix. I'm not sure what's going on here. I've pulled my hood up as we've gone out onto the street, and I'm looking to see if there are lots of people missing who, like, how many people have gone to this meeting? Are all the grown-ups out of town? It doesn't sound like it because you said it's quite a busy street, but...
No. Actually, Well, you roll me an investigation check as well, and what this is going to be for is you noticing the rhythms of the town, because you've been in town for a little while, and it's going to be to tell whether you are going to be able to recall certain groups of people around, like in the evenings, right? Or like during the noonday stuff. What do you got?
Okay. 16. 16.
Yep. So noon isn't quite the right time for that, right? Because the people that would be in that meeting, they would be disappearing from like the loom floors and stuff. So you're aware of I think you'd be aware of that. You do notice that there are fewer children on the street than you would expect during a noonday, like a noon. And in the afternoon, as afternoon turns into evening, because y'all are walking around for what, maybe 2 hours? Yeah, as it starts moving into evening and people start, tidying up stock and things like that, you're starting to see people, they're not lingering. They're kind of like cleaning up and going home as the light starts to go.
So, as one of the children runs past me, then I say, "Hey, where are your friends today?"
She skids to a stop and she looks at you and she starts to respond, and then she goes, "My mama told me not to talk to strangers."
I'm so glad you listened to your mum. That's great. Have a wonderful afternoon.
And so you say, "It's really good you listen to your mom." And she goes, "Yes, I do listen to my mom. But Sally's not listening to her mom, so she's not allowed out today, and Bobby didn't either, and he's not allowed out today either, and Bill, he wasn't good either, but I didn't go with that group, so I am allowed to play. Bye!" And runs away.
Darn it.
Everybody looks the same. There's a lot of twins and triplets, and now all of a sudden all the kids are hiding. What's going on?
It doesn't sound like the kids are hiding. It sounds like they're being kept away from something.
Yeah. Or like they're misbehaving, and very strict rules around here.
Yeah, I wish I was good with children. I would have asked more questions.
All right, so y'all heading back to the inn, or are you looking for anything else while you're out?
I'm wondering if there's anyone around that we could engage in conversation, or is everyone hustling out of here?
They're not really hustling. It's more that you have noticed the rhythm in this town generally is linger chat in the evenings, and people aren't doing that as much, right? It's not quite like batten up the hatches and be like, peace out and impolite. It's not that at all. It's just more like it's subtle, I would say. So yeah, as you, let's say you're back on the street with the inns and all the shops and stuff, and there are people absolutely still selling their wares. They tend to be things like Jack of Ale, hot pie for dinner. There's a baker that has a helper that's taking like little tiles from people that are lining up and handing over baskets. This is the kind of thing where, like, at the beginning of a work day, a woman might drop off like a crock pot type thing, and the baker will stick them in the ovens throughout the day, and they come back at the end of the day and it's cooked, you know? You see, you do actually see a gaggle of kids around somebody that looks like they're selling sweets. It looks like they've taken apple bits and dipped them in honey and let them harden, and those are what the kids are eating. For like pennies and stuff. They look like an apple seller, and then this is the kind of thing they do just kind of on the side. Stuff like that.
What a great town.
That's very cute.
Anybody want to approach? You want to approach any of these groups, or keep making up random stuff?
Is it okay if I think when I bought a pie. A couple of days ago from the pie seller, they were very talkative, so I might head over there.
That sounds great.
Great.
Yep. So let's say it's the bakery where they're handing out collecting chits and handing out the dinners, and on the other side there's a we'll say she's a younger lady, and she was the one that you were chatting with. And she's sort of on the side of people coming in and picking up their dinners for, you know, a penny or whatever. Some of them are stopping by to add pie to the dinner, right? So you step in and she goes... To do
something while we're walking up, following Aelia up to these people.
Yeah.
Just want to linger behind just a little bit, but I'm going to cast Mirror Image and just spread them out amongst the group so there's 7 of us, and pretend it's not a thing while we're walking up. There's 4 Yumeis.
So there is 7 of you total.
Yes.
Got it.
There's the 4 of us, and there's 3 extra.
3 extra.
Like, they're illusory, but they look real because otherwise they wouldn't work in combat if they weren't convincing.
So it looks like there are 4 Yumeis and then battle Winnie and Aelia.
Mm-hmm.
Do you do this like in the middle of the street, or is this the kind of thing where you stop and you know, sort of duck down an alley, and when you come out there are 4 of you?
Technically it only lasts for a minute, so I'm just trying to... My main purpose for doing this as a player is trying to gauge if these people react any particular way while they're talking to Aelia and looking at our group. Like, see if it looks totally normal to them, or if they're surprised to see this.
I think the conversation is going to take longer than a minute. Would it be the kind of thing where...
just looking for how they react when we approach them. Like, if they look startled by this, or if they're totally unfazed.
Would it sound right to have Yume be casting this as you're sort of walking through the crowd? So it's the kind of thing where, like, you walk around a person and now there are 2 of you, and walk around another person and now there's another one of you by battle, and that kind of thing? Would that look alright?
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
I mean, like, coming out of, like, once Aelia points out, like, hey, let's talk to those people real quick. Like, coming out of the crowd, doing it then.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, okay. So as you're coming out of the crowd, go ahead and roll and so you're looking specifically for reactions. Let's roll an investigation check. No, Siri, I don't want you. Go away.
Would insight be appropriate?
Okay. Oh. Would insight be appropriate for Yume?
Since, like, reading people more than, like, checking out the...
That makes sense. Let's do that.
I think Aelia would look like just a micro expression of surprise would cross Aaliyah's face, and I'd look to Winnie and Battle like, I'm trying to check, like, are we in trouble? There's suddenly more Yumeis, like, I don't know what's going on here. So I'm looking to you 2 for reassurance.
Winnie's gonna kind of, like, lean in and just be like, I've found that it's best to just go with it.
Okay, and then oh, good.
You got it, Leah.
Sorry, you said you got a 19, Yume?
Yes.
Okay, so, as you're walking up into the shop and you're crossing from, like, no longer in the crowd and into the shop, and you're manifesting these, I think you do it subtly enough that you're not getting anybody sort of, like, doing a double take of, like, did that person just appear out of thin air? You're actually not seeing any reactions as people see, like, 1 and then 2 and then 3 and then even 4 of you, and you're walking up into the shop past a line of people waiting for their dinners. And as you get into the shop, there's 1 or 2 people at the pie counter, and, you know, as people come into the shop, they're gonna, like, look over their shoulder and they see, you know, a crowd of people that all look the same, and you don't see any startlement or any reaction. There's mild curiosity because you're not from around here, but that's it. And then they turn back around. The pie seller is like, oh, hi, are you back? You really liked... Can I just say that you like peaches? Because you liked the peach ale. Is that fine?
I love peaches.
You really like that peach pie. I made another one. You want a slice, or you've got a crowd with you? You want a whole pie? Huh? Yeah. Huh?
I did want to share it with my friends. It was so good when I had it last time.
Wonderful. Let me pack that right up. I'm just helping these 2 ladies out. I'll be right with you. And she finishes up the sale she's doing there, and as she is, she's packing up a pie for you. There's a bit of a lull. She doesn't have anybody at the counter, and she says, so how you liking your stay in our town? You having a good time?
I think we're really enjoying it, right, guys? Right, everyone?
All four of
Absolutely.
you maze
Wilson
nod in
Sorry.
unison.
Okay. She does look a little. She's sort of like, as she sees the unison, she's like, okay, that's strange. What did Winnie and Battle say?
I said absolutely.
Cool. She is Shy's with you, right? You don't leave her outside. She's gonna like
She came in.
lean over the counter and be like, puppy.
You can say hi, Shay.
Yes. And she says, she want a bit of apple? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
And
Make her work for it, though.
Oh, sit? Good girl. Gives her a piece of apple. That is generally what people do with my service dogs when I tell them to make her work for they're like, what do you say? Yeah, sit works.
I'm still trying to figure out like the dynamics of this group that I'm in, and I'm not really like the chatty type. But so I'm trying to kind of see who wants to engage this shopkeeper, and we went to see the looms today. They were amazing.
Oh, aren't they?
And I'm like really looking at everyone like, help me out here.
She says, aren't they amazing? It's so funny. People will come from all over the world just to see those. We do a good business. I'm not from here originally, but they do say they're amazing.
Oh, how long ago did you come here?
Oh, my dad brought us here about, gosh, I was just a wee thing. Probably, I think we've been here for about 10 years now. Yeah.
Oh,
Dad passed away, sadly, a couple years ago. Ma and I keep the shop running.
Have things gotten weirder here over time?
She cocks her head and she says, well, I don't know what you mean by that. Town's pretty friendly. Nothing too weird.
Everyone is very friendly.
I mean, I would say the boys are kind of weird. You realize she's fairly young, right? So she's probably just getting into the boys are cute versus boys are dumb phase. And she's like, I mean, the boys will just get up to all sorts of shenanigans, but other than that.
What brought you here in the first place?
She says, Da was a baker ever since he was a little boy, but he just could, like, his father was a baker too, and just too many cooks in the kitchen, Da used to say, so looking for a new start. That's what I remember.
Have you heard
Is there
about
anything
these
special
caverns?
going on this week? Oh, good.
Aaliyah's got a lag on her side. I'm sorry. Battle, what were you going to say? I'll come back to you, Aaliyah.
Has she heard about these caverns?
Oh, yeah. Everybody's heard about the caverns. I mean, they say that the looms come from there. I don't know how true that is or anything. And sometimes the younger kids will play like a dare game, you know. And I mean, I've done it once or twice where you run up into the caverns and then you hold your arms out and with your back to the caverns and count. Whoever can do it the longest is the bravest, you know, and that kind of thing. But nobody ever really goes down there. They say there's all kinds of stories about it, but that's just to scare kids and stuff. And Aaliyah,
what's the scariest story?
And she says,
Aaliyah,
well, they do say that. Well, this is just such a silly thing, but they do say that they scavenged the looms from a larger, like, mechanical beast, and they say that that's what eats the adventurers that go in there and never come out. But there hasn't been an adventuring group, well, like yourselves, hasn't been one of those for a while. Nobody's really interested in the caverns. Just local stories and stuff.
I want to meet a loom beast.
Yeah.
And what was Aelia gonna say?
I was wondering if there's any events coming up or festivals that we can feel the tension building.
And she says, no, actually, we just got done with one. You know, it's been harvest and all. But, you know, I've been noticing tension too. All the adults are getting kind of weird. They had a meeting earlier today. I heard the Makers Guild. They usually meet on the new moon, and we're not. That's another week or two away. So there must be some sort of kerfuffle, but it doesn't really affect us. You know, pie.
Oh man, grumpy adults are the worst.
They are the worst. I don't know why people have to get so all up in arms about stuff, and it's just, you know, we just need to enjoy life. And typical teenager. One of the floofy teenagers.
Do you know what they get upset about?
And she says, no, this town's run by those makers, you know, and they say things like, you know, the town lives and dies by the cloth they make and stuff. So every now and then they get all up in arms about like a specific color is being called for and they don't have, or whatever. I think somebody said something about something breaking, you know.
Doesn't sound fun.
No, it's, yeah, but what are you gonna do?
But thanks so much for the pie.
Oh, of course. I hope you all enjoy it. So the 3 additional Yumeis, have they vanished at this point?
Oh yeah, like it lasts a minute. So like just in the middle of while we're talking, having a conversation, they were acting identically to Yume, but they just poof.
She goes.
Maybe in a little bit of a magic dust sort of effect.
Got it. She goes, oh, are you a magician?
Say that. I have some tricks.
Oh, and she claps her hands kind of like a little girl, and she's like, oh, that's amazing. Do another one.
You say another one?
Well,
I'll shoot a weak eldritch blast up into the air. Just like a burst of like sunshine energy.
And she goes, ooh, that's so pretty. Oh, I wish I could do magic. That's so amazing. We don't have any wizards in this town. You are so neat. Nobody does magic around here. We're just so boring.
Oh.
We just make pie. We just make cloth, and it's nothing.
That's odd. I thought a lot of people were doing the trick I just did because so many people look alike.
Oh, that's just this town. There's so many twins and stuff. The families that come from here that have been here for ages, they all have, it just runs in their family lines. Mama says some towns are just like that.
Red herrings, y'all.
Did you say another one when you found out you made those magic?
Tricks. Do another one.
She asked Yume to do another magic trick.
Oh.
Because the 3
another magician.
No. No, she was like, do another magic trick. I want to see you in another magic trick. Taking notes. Okay.
I say, well, the looms seem pretty magical to me, as you know, as it's clear that the conversation is sort of coming. It seems like the conversation's coming to an end to me anyway. So
and she says it's gibberish to me. I don't know how they get any of that stuff to work. Give me flour and fruit any day, and I'll make the pies. Mama says I make better pies than even she does these days. She's very proud of herself.
That's pretty special.
Yeah, and she like dusts off her apron as she's rolling out some flour and. As she's rolling out flour. No, what is flour made into? Dough! As she's rolling out dough. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let's say another customer comes in and pulls her attention away if there's nothing else y'all want. All right. Yeah, so she starts to chat with the customer. Bye, let me know if you need more pie. I'll make another peach pie tomorrow. If you want one. Y'all head out?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you're back on the street. People are heading home. They're lighting lanterns and stuff. It's approaching dinner time. And on that note, we're at about our halfway mark. I know we started a little bit late, so I waited a little bit for that. we're going to take a real quick break. Does anybody... I know some of you all have dogs. Anybody need to take the dogs out, or can we do a 5-minute break? 5-minute break it is. So, stream, we will be back 15 minutes after the hour. I think I did that math right. But until then, I'm going to throw up a be right back screen, so there won't be any music, but I promise we'll be right back. If you have any questions, toss them into chat. Okay. Be right back, stream. Hello, Stream. We're back. We are going to start playing again. Okay, so you have left the pie seller shop and you are heading back towards the inn. Does that sound right?
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Are we saving conversations for getting back to the inn, or are we going to talk on the street? What are we doing?
Assuming no one's, in earshot, I would say it's so interesting that she couldn't work the looms. I wonder if only locals can work the looms.
Oh, that's
As
an
an
interesting
observation
question.
to the group.
Yeah.
You mean like, do you need some sort of special genetic code to work them?
Well, there's so many twins and triplets. It seems like there's something very special or different about the locals here. I just have questions. So many questions.
And you noticed the multiples when you came into town, that there were a lot of multiples in town. I think the significance of it didn't quite hit you until you realized the triplets at the loom and stuff.
Sure.
What was really jumping out to me is that so many people seem to be uneasy. Like there's an air of discomfort in the area, and that shouldn't be going on. And all the people that are on the, what do you call it? The guild?
Yes, from now on, that's exactly what it's going to be called. I'm writing it down.
The makers?
Makers
the
Guild. That's what it's called
Makers
forever.
They seem upset, and that's not good. All other proper ways of describing that people are hurting, and I want it to stop. But more eloquent in character.
Got it. We all track that.
So yep. I just want them to be happy. So how do we help do that? This isn't a priority. That's not why we're here, but I want to meet a loom beast.
Oh, don't worry. I wrote it down. I'm sure text.
Oh, that was totally in character.
Oh, you said in character you want to meet a loom beast?
Yeah.
Then I'm writing it down in a different way now. Continue.
I am so fascinated by Yume right now, like just saying, wanting to alleviate discomfort for no other reason than wanting people to feel better. And I catch myself like really staring like,
well,
wow.
You're seeing this sweet young lady, right? Like express extreme concern for people she's never met before, and like very earnestly, like, what can we do to help it stop, with the air of like, obviously we're going to help, and then ending that with, and also I want to see a loom beast.
Well, that tracks more for me, but the kindness and the wanting to help, that's like suddenly another sun appeared in the sky. Like, I'm like,
is it upsetting?
Real.
Or is it like,
no, it's just so,
is it just
novel that
so
it doesn't
strange?
compute.
Okay, so like, are you unsure if she's being genuine?
No, I think I'm like, you're for real. Like, this is
you're realizing
real.
she is being genuine. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's like I have a whole new set of information I have to process now about.
Cool.
I don't know how we get to this point in conversation, but if you'll allow me to assume there was some filler conversation that Yume and Aelia had, and like continue in media res, if you will. Are you okay with that?
I am.
Yeah.
Leo, you good? Okay.
Oh great, now I've lost it.
Sorry.
This is who we are today.
This is who we are today. And that's okay.
Yes.
So you would certainly feel scrutinized by me, and there would be, maybe I would even do a like under my breath like a wow.
Okay. I think I just want to get to. I want to give you information through character, but I'm really bad at being in character today. But something along the lines of like, yeah, I lived at a temple to the sun, and a lot of people came, like, it was a church. It was a temple, and people came to came to get help and fellowship and have answers to their questions and things. And sometimes the community wasn't doing so great, so we were just there to be a friend and a smiling face and build community with them. Like, I was around a lot of people all the time, so yeah. And my mom ran the place, so I kind of had a lot of responsibility. So I was involved with a lot of our visitors. And as she's sharing that, it's like genuine, like she was happy to have done all that, but you see a little bit of sadness at the same time.
I see the sadness and I'm like, oh, there was something else going on, huh?
It was a little complicated. It felt more like I'm glad I got to help, and I do want to continue to help people, but being there felt more like I was always around people, but kind of alone at the same time. Because I was just doing what I was supposed to, what my mom told me to do. And I'm happy to have helped all the people that were there, but it didn't feel like a friendship with the visitors. It felt more like a job.
As Yume is saying that, like, Aelia's eyes kind of just... there's a little bit of a sense that there's some tears back there. They're just, like, stinging a little bit, and she quickly kind of rubs her face, and she's like, it sounds like you've got quite the story to tell, and, I'm just... If it's okay with you, I'd love to learn some of the practices you have for kindness and help and fellowship.
Of course, sure. I brought some of my books with me. And she'll just like flash them and put them back in her bag. Like, we can read them later.
That's just about all that Aelia can handle, so she's like, great.
Cool.
And she kind of shakes her head and
I'm
like,
tough.
quickens her pace a little bit.
Swagger.
Yeah.
Take deep breaths. Yep. Clap the chest like, yes. Yes. Okay. Winnie, were you going to make a comment?
Yes. This was kind of before this conversation that just happened, I think, when Yume was saying that she wanted to see a loom beast. Winnie is just going to make a comment about smashing said loom beast if it gets bitey.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, Belle, you good? Anything you want to add? Yep, okay. So we're going to head, I saw a head nod, so we're going to head back to the inn. As you get into the inn, it is simultaneously darker and yet brighter. It's one of those weird things where, like, you're in gloaming and the light's going and, you know, lanterns and such have been lit on the walls, but there's only so much you can do. So the corners are a little shadowy. And it's busier. You're seeing not just those two girls from earlier and the innkeeper. You're seeing two boys now as well. These two boys do look identical. They look about the same age as the girls, but in that weird amorphous, they're probably younger because boys get taller faster nonsense. Yeah, so they tuck you into a corner. There's a table that's just big enough for all of you that just cleared out. And the innkeeper bustles over, and she's actually a little short-winded. She looks like she's been busy. She's got bright red cheeks, and she says, "Hello, friends. How was your walkabout town? Did you have fun? See anything good? Oh, Aelia, did you get another pie? You love that pie."
This town is so cute, and the desserts are incredible.
Oh, good. I've actually got some fresh-made vanilla ice cream if you want me to bring some of that out after dinner. You want that with your pie, Aelia? And
ice cream?
Yeah. Hey, ice cream's an old thing. I'm allowed to bring it up here. Screw that. It's a fantasy world, and I've decided. Aelia doesn't know what ice cream is? The woman looks at her like, seriously? Girl, I'm bringing you ice cream, but after dinner, you gotta eat your vegetables. And then she kind of looks confused because you're not one of her kids, and she's like, I'll be right back. It goes and gets you dinner.
just about all I can think about now is something new and sweet that I'm gonna get to taste soon.
Are we in the room where we'll meet the mayor?
So as she's bringing your food back, she says, I did get a note back from the mayor, and he is going to join y'all in a little bit. He's not going to be able to have dinner with you because that guild meeting went long, but he said he should be around for drinks after. So y'all okay with hanging out? Hey, you are not allowed on that. As handsome as you are. And she says, y'all okay for hanging out after dinner? Is that all right? It'll calm down in here after dinner. We're not really the place where people drink at. We're the dinner and chat afterwards. So this will clear out after the dinner rush.
But how long is it going to be before you bring the ice cream?
And she says, you just finish up your dinner. I'll bring that right back around. And she says, any you want a round of port after dinner? It'll go real good with that peach pie. I assume you got a peach pie and the ice cream. I'll bring you all some ice cream. Does that sound all right? And she runs away before you
Yeah, I mean, I ate a bit of the peach pie before we got to the inn.
Oh, I'm sure. This does not surprise me in any way, shape, or form. Okay, so y'all have a decent and filling and delicious dinner that I'm not going to describe because I don't want to. And afterward, as she's clearing the dishes, she brings over these little dishes of so the ice cream is a snowy white. It looks like a snowball, which I think you have seen. You've seen snow, like, clumped up into a ball, but it looks more solid somehow. It almost looks like somebody has frozen cream, but you know that if you freeze cream, it does this weird separating thing, but it looks like somebody has managed to freeze it. It's very strange. And she brings over very tiny glasses of like a ruby red liquid. It looks syrupy. She sets it all down in front of you and she says, whew, that's me right off my feet. Go ahead and indulge me here. Try that ice cream. So what you want to do is you get a little bite of your pie, little bite, and a little bite of your ice cream. You put that in your mouth. You start to chew and you take a little sip of the port. Go ahead.
Do you want to have a slice of pie and join us?
Oh, you know, and she looks around and she's like, I think the kiddo's got it. Let me just go get myself a nip as well. And she ducks out back and is talking to the boys, and then she comes over and she pulls up a chair and she's got herself a little glass and a little bowl of ice cream, and it's got something drizzled over it. And she's like, oh, okay. So tell me all about your day. Did everybody have a good day? This is nice for me. I don't usually get to chat with my customers, but y'all have been so sweet.
I am like fixated on my ice cream and also like a little bit self-conscious, so I'm not going to be much good at this conversation. Like, I'm almost like it's quite clear I'd rather eat this in private. It's going to be quite a big deal when I taste this.
Oh, and she is very, very conscious of this and is watching you. She's like, you better eat that before it melts.
So I decide I don't normally wear my hood up indoors, but I put my hood up and sort of lean forward and take a tiny little bite, and
it's
you
very
see like my body.
Yeah. It's very, very cold.
To her, I'll talk. I forgot her name already. Was it Teresa? No,
it starts with an L. There's Louise at the inn with Lily, and then at the loom place with Lily. I don't think I named the innkeeper. I think I've been cheating and just calling her the innkeeper.
I thought you did, but I'm gonna try to chat with her a little bit to distract, like, pick up on the what Aelia just described. Try to help out with that a little bit. Just try to talk with her to keep her focused, give her a little bit of privacy in public. But also sneaking at peek once in a while to see if Aelia actually likes it, because sweets are important.
So let's say that you and jump in if this isn't right. Let's say that you engage the innkeeper maybe on the ice cream. Like, this is kind of rare. How do you make it yourself? Would you go into that maybe with her to kind of distract her a little bit? Yeah. So she's like, oh yes. So my youngest daughter, she's seeing a fellow a couple towns away. He comes through here. His daddy makes this, so of course she had to learn how to make it. Now we do, and she goes into this whole thing. She's talking about flavors and stuff, and she wants to add peach to the next batch and the whole thing.
Do you get any of your honey from the insert name here of Sun Garden place.
And she says, you know,
where I'm from.
And she says, you know, that sounds a bit familiar. And she calls one of her daughters over and says, have you ever heard of this honey? And her daughter goes, yes, actually. My boyfriend, his parents talk about it. They've got a jar and they use it very sparingly. They say you just need a little bit and it flavors the whole batch. It's just wonderful. I've had some. It's just delicious. Do you know them? Have you been there? Have you tried it? It's amazing. She's young and she's gonna babble at you.
It's all my stepdad's work.
Oh my goodness, this is amazing. I love that honey. Mom, we should definitely put it in. We should try and make a honey ale. It would be amazing. And her mom gets all excited about that. So,
Amy's very happy too.
Yeah. So innkeeper totally sidetracked, but does Aelia like the ice cream?
Aelia is like transported, and her ice cream's suddenly finished, and she's looking at the innkeeper, who we're naming soon. She's looking over at the innkeeper's bowl, like, what did you put on yours?
And the innkeeper says, what did I want to put on that? She says, this is an elderberry syrup that we make. It's to put in other, dishes and stuff. And I like to put it in my tea and stuff. It's just a hint of kind of a sharp flavor, but with an odd sweetness to it as well. It's good. You want a bite? She has noticed that there's no more ice cream in your bowl.
Aelia doesn't know what to say, because she really does, but she's never eaten from someone else's bowl before.
So the innkeeper is going to lean over to her daughter, and her daughter's been clearing the table for other empty dishes. When she comes back, she has another, just a spoonful with a little bit of the elderberry, and she just slides it in front of you and keeps going. And the innkeeper says nothing, right? How's everybody else enjoying the ice cream? And I assume the pie, did you share the pie out? And the port is nice tang. Everybody else enjoying that? Battle, Winnie?
I assumed it was like a tiny pie, so I didn't think this was something that was being shared.
I think she sold you a pie that was big enough to share. And I think Aelia wanted to share, yeah?
Yeah.
Seeing a head nod. Yeah, so everybody got a slice of pie, a little tiny bowl of ice cream, and a little thing of port. Everybody got one of those. Is this something Winnie would appreciate, or is she like sweets, or is she dubious of new things, or?
Winnie likes sweets, but peaches in particular remind her of somebody that she cared about, and it kind of makes her sad. So she's like kind of picking at it, but is just kind of quietly sitting there.
Got it.
Doesn't really appear to be indulging or enjoying.
In what seems to be a rare moment of social acuity, the innkeeper notices you're not eating your pie, but she doesn't call any attention to it at all. How about Battle? How's Battle reacting to pie and ice cream and port?
I feel like Battle's just feeling a little suspicious of this town.
I just wrote Battle is sus in large letters in my notebook.
Battle's not the sus one, though. Battle is feeling sus.
Okay, I will change that to Battle is feeling sus. Got it. Yes, that is very, very, it's very important.
Probably also coming across as sus. But I think Battle's probably wondering what the heck is in the peaches and the port that's making this whole town full of twins. Is it some kind of did they grow them from a certain orchard or trees, or what is going on? Battle is just feeling very very sus. And so I think Battle too is picking at it, not because it tastes bad, because it's delicious, but just I was full from dinner, thanks.
Oh, of course, no worries. So she's gonna hang out with y'all for a little bit. As soon as she finishes her ice cream and stuff, She's going to... One moment.
Ipsy, lay down. Ipsy, lay down.
Sorry, baby dog is trying to run around the tiny room, and it's not going to work. So she's seeing things that need to be done, and she says, if y'all excuse me, the mayor will be here right soon. I'll bring over a thing of wine. He really likes his wine. Not like that. That's not what I meant. We just make good wine. And then she takes a couple of plates and runs away. We all do anything before the mayor shows up? Discussing our suspicious feelings?
I think I just want to observe how everybody else is behaving after eating peaches and drinking port.
To see if they've changed or anything.
Because I'm wondering if there isn't, like, what I'm imagining is that people eat the food here.
Uh-huh.
And then if they dare go to the caverns, they hallucinate. Or something. I'm like, something's not right here. I think this is I kind of feel like this town is full of it.
Roll me an insight check.
Okay. Oh, that didn't roll very good. That's not a good roll.
What'd you roll?
Hold, please. Gotta look for the thing. 16. I do all because bad brain day.
That's actually probably a fairly decent roll. So I'm gonna say that thought occurs to you probably alongside a couple of other wild thoughts. But your friends are not acting any differently, and you probably don't know enough about Aelia to know whether her hunched over eating ice cream out of a hood is, underneath the hood is normal behavior or not, but you're just gonna let that one go.
Okay. I think Battle's just gonna feel or seem slightly impatient waiting for the mayor and just a little nervous.
Okay. Anybody else want to say anything, or you may? You good? Winnie, good? Okay. So the mayor is going to bustle in. He is a remarkably tall, thin man who appears to be either bald or shaves his head, but with a very neat black beard. And he's dressed kind of like a businessman. He's wearing a suit, and he rushes in and he looks at his clock and he tucks it in his pocket, and he says, I cannot for the life of me think of any more L names.
How's Leanne?
Leanne's great.
Lenora?
Nope, Leanne was first. He bustles in and he says, Leanne, I'm late. I'm so sorry. Where are these girls you were talking about? And she comes out of the back and she says, oh, you get over there. And she ushers him over to the table and shoves him down in the chair she was sitting in. And she says, these are the ladies, and they are very fascinated in the looms, and there is a literal fire in the kitchen, so I have to run. Y'all explain yourselves. And she runs away. She runs back with the pitcher of wine and kind of tosses it on the table and then runs away again. And he says, well, that's typical Leanne, if I do say so myself. I am Mayor Brummel. It is so excellent to meet all of y'all. I heard you got a tour of one of our loom houses earlier today. What'd you all think? That's our pride and joy it is over here in Worneer. What'd you think?
It's fascinating. I was very happy to have a tour of the place. I'm gonna cut right to the chase. I'm worried about the people there.
And he says, oh my goodness, why is that? He's got one hand sort of like to his chest, and it doesn't seem like there's anything wrong. It just seems like a gesture he's doing, where he'll gesture with his hand and then rest it back on his chest. His name is Mayor Brummel. Yeah. And he says, oh, tell me more about that. That's awful. We don't want to. What's going on?
Well,
what'd you see?
She was really pleasant, very hospitable, very relaxed the whole time we were getting a tour there, and then all of a sudden the guild needed to have a meeting and shut down, and everybody was worried about things. So I just want to make sure that the guild's all right.
And he leans back in his chair and he says, "Ah, you picked up on that, did you?" And roll me an insight check.
Okay, I can do that. 10.
Sorry, I need husband to come get baby dog. She's being obnoxious. When he leans back in his chair, you're not sure whether that means he is suddenly suspicious of you or whether he is impressed with your concern.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, so the next thing he says is, so he says, "You picked up on that. Okay, hold one moment. Hold on. Let me invent in brain. Brain dumb. I totally forgot what I was going to say. Shoot.
Yeah, someone came in from the back and said they needed to have a meeting about things, that bad things were happening.
And he
I've
says,
been thinking about it all day.
And he says, "Well, bless you for being that concerned. And actually, I came here tonight because I heard y'all were adventurers, and we are in sore need of a set of adventurers to help us with that very problem."
Well, aren't the stars aligned?
And he says, "Yes, they do seem to be aligned. That's very fortuitous. Tell me, what do you know about the caverns of Worneer?"
There's a loom beast in it.
You may.
That's what I heard from the pie merchant.
And he says, "You've been talking to the kids. Yeah, they do say the damnedest things. Yes. Anything else you know about the caverns? Because we have a sore need for someone to go down into them."
We also heard that people don't come back when they go in there.
And that the looms maybe came from there?
And he says, "Yes, that is a telling that we have here in town, is that they're ancient, you know, my grandfather's grandfather's grandfather, right? That kind of ancient, so we don't rightly know, but we have compelling evidence to suggest that they are from there, and the it's not quite true that nobody's ever come back from the caverns, I'll say."
What did they come back with?
And he says, "Well, you could say that parts of them came back. I'm not trying to be gruesome, you understand, but when people come back from the caverns, they're not quite like who they were like before. They go on and on about these impossible things that they've seen, and one or two have brought back things that really resemble the looms, the metal. I'm sure you saw the looms are made out of some sort of metal we just can't duplicate or repair. So they've brought back some bits and bobs that, oh God, excuse me, are similar kind of metal or the same kind of metal. So
what would you need us to do down in there?
And he says, "Well, that's the thing is, like I said, we can't repair this stuff, but somebody made it. So what we're hoping y'all can do for us is to go down into the caverns and find wherever these came from. Maybe there are more, and maybe you can tell us what is down there that needs to be, you know, taken care of, so we can get down there and get the things we need. I mean, we're not fighting people, and frankly, the groups that have gone down there have never been as powerful as y'all seem to be. I mean, I hear you're a magician, young lady." And he just gestures vaguely at the monk and at the dog and like at the barbarian, and it's just like, y'all.
Oh, I read that wrong. I thought you were saying I heard you're a magician, young lady, and it gestures at Aelia.
Oh, yeah, no, sorry. He was talking to you, Yume, and then he, like, gestures at all of you, and he's like, "You're so much stronger than the groups we've sent down there before. We're hoping, you know, at least you can report back what you see intelligibly, and you know, on the further end of the spectrum, if you could take care of anything down there that might be dangerous so we can get down there safely." I mean, it's all kind of a long shot. The most I can really expect to ask of you is to give us an idea of what's down there.
So you don't need us to bring back more of the metal. Just make it, investigate, and maybe make it safe for you to go down there yourselves.
He fiddles with his beard a little bit, and he's looking down at the table, and he pours himself a cup of this wine, and he sips from it, and he sets it down, and he says, what we need is equipment that will repair the looms. If y'all run across that, but I can't expect you to know what that would look like, and frankly, I don't even know what it would look like my own self, because they're looms, right? We know they're looms, but I don't know if the tools we would use to fix a regular size loom would be the kind of tools. He seems to be sort of at a loss for words, and then he stops and he says, we just don't know what's down there. And that seems to be like the heavy part of what he's saying.
Is there anything you've heard of it? Any even if it's a fairy tale, is there anything that we need to know that maybe you don't even want to tell us that we should know?
He says, there are two theories about the caverns. You got your one camp that thinks a benevolent weirdo lived down there and made all kinds of things that made their way out into the world. I mean, the ancients did all sorts of strange things. We've got, y'all probably run across magnificent weapons that you can't explain why they never break. We've lost the knack of that kind of thing. But the ancients did all kinds of mysterious stuff. So that's one camp, right? Some tinkerer, extraordinaire magician dude lived in the caves and this stuff came out of it. There's another camp that believes that there is someone down there right now that has lived all of these years and is puppeting our town and towns like us, and is setting us up to fail all these years. And I gotta tell you, I'm in the first camp, okay? But I've been in the caverns. I haven't been very deep, but I've been in there. And there is a malevolence there that I cannot explain away. So I can't tell you the second one isn't true either. It seems impossible. But I've seen strange things in my life. All right, so that's all I can tell you.
The truth usually lays somewhere in the middle.
He nods and he says, there's wisdom in that. People aren't simple, right? You can't just be all good or all bad. You're probably right. But I've got a family, and not that y'all don't, but I am not a fighter. And he sort of, he invites you to look at him, and he's a businessman through and through, and he says, I talk to people. I can't swing a sword. I don't even carry a dagger on me. Leanne's on me about it all the time because I can't eat my own meat. The town needs you. We don't have warriors.
Do you have a backup plan in case the looms are no longer sustainable?
And he says, now that is what we've been working on. And he leans in and he says, now this is also of much debate whether we should even have a backup plan. But frankly, we've got some very clever people here. We are the Makers Guild after all. Now what we've been doing over the last couple years, because this has been happening for a while now, right, is we have been taking what we know of the looms and trying to duplicate it. Now that has been a bit of a catastrophe so far. However, we got the boys now. They really think they've got something that works. Now they're making something right now. They're building it right now, and it's coming along quite well. Might be able to do that, but we're not going to be able to get the kind of fabrics we've got now. So what we're trying to do instead is sort of, and he starts to go into this weird sort of business plan about, like, instead of the quality of the cloth, it's the quality of the designs, right? That's something they can control, and they can try and work up to the quality, and they're setting aside stores of fabric they can still make now to sell later if the looms do fail at like a slower pace. And it's kind of confusing, but he does seem to have a business plan, but his eyes are sort of like roll me an insight check.
Everyone?
Winnie asked.
Winnie?
Go ahead and have Winnie do it. Yeah.
Okay.
16.
His eyes have that light that somebody who is slightly desperate and is sure this is gonna work, because it has to work, has. It's hard for you to tell whether he actually has a workable idea or whether he is grasping at straws, and if he gets lucky, it'll be okay. It's hard to tell. Good question,
And
though.
it looks like
Go ahead.
Aelia wanted to know if the same people who come out with loom pieces are the ones who are changed.
Yes, I see that. He explains that they don't come out with loom pieces. They come out with like bits and bobs, like we've got a piece of machinery. It's like we got something like a gear, right? That's a peculiar kind of metal. And he said, actually, I can bring you that. So you kind of know what I'm talking about. But it's a gear, and it's got some funny, something carved into it, and it's the same kind of metal as the loom. And when I say they come back, but I mean they don't come back, the fighters that went down. They come back, and all they can think about is what they saw. But what they say they saw changes. And they don't all come back, right? A party will go down, and one or two people will come back, and it's all they can think about, and then they leave here and we never hear from them again. But it's all they talk about is what they saw down there. But it changes every time they tell you what they saw, so it doesn't seem real.
What kinds of things did they say they saw?
And he says,
Those two things you talked about earlier?
and he says, they say they see. Well, he says they say one. So the last guy that went down there came back up here, and all he could talk about was this beautiful sunset that he saw underground, right? And then the next time he was telling this story, it wasn't a sunset. It was one of our looms, but it was embedded in the wall, and it was weaving rock. It's nonsense, right? And then the next time, and he starts like a series of tales that seem completely not connected, but with bits of reality sort of woven in, like rocks through a loom, right? Like rocks are rocks and looms are looms, but they don't quite go together. And he says it's all stuff like that.
I have a player question to the DM.
Yes.
Well, no, that's not true. I have a regular question.
Okay.
Is everyone wearing the clothes made from the looms?
You ask him that?
Sure, but also I was going to observe. But yeah, let's ask him. I'm asking.
He says, well, of course, it's it's the best of the best, and we of course give discounts and such to the folk of the town.
Has anyone who ever went down there gone down there without wearing the clothes from the loom?
And he says, well, that's a question, isn't it? Let me think. I don't rightly know. He says,
All the wild stories, were they people from this town who went down there?
He says the last time somebody from this town went down there, they did not come back. And he says that with a very straight face.
How long ago was that?
And he says, my son did not return 5 years ago.
Wow.
But he wore clothing made in this town, I imagine.
He wore clothing made by my hand.
I just wonder
what
if
it is to lose someone you care about. So if we can find what happened to him and either bring him home or relay that information to you, we will.
And he says, I thank you. The primary goal of sending y'all down there is to find a way to repair the looms. Of course, if you find something about my boy, I don't imagine how you could, but if you do, I would, of course, be endlessly grateful. Battle, what were you going to say?
Something empathic, and then
it is received and reflected positively back.
And then I would say, perhaps is there a shawl or a blanket or a cape we could bring with us in case part of what people are seeing is based on the magic or power imbued upon the fabrics from the loom?
He looks surprised and he says, power from our cloth? And he laughs and he says, it's good cloth, but it's not magic.
She has a very straight face. She's very serious.
And he looks around at all of you like to share the joke. And he looks back at you and he says, ma'am, I'm at a loss. This is not magic cloth. If we'd charge a lot more for it if it were. He looks very confused.
Just in case. I can test the theory for you while we're down there. And I promise I'll bring it back, as long as I come back.
He says, of course I can outfit all of you. If that's what you want. No expense spared. Of course.
I think our clothes are fine. I just want one piece to test it unless anyone else wants clothes. But this is her still being suspicious in the back of her head. She's like, hell no, I'm not wearing all those clothes.
Oh wait, I think I'm confused. Are you asking him for clothes for us to bring down there, or is that the opposite of what you're saying?
Just one. I want like the equivalent of an invisibility cloak or something, just to see if like the things that people are seeing, like the walls making metal, is due to the fabric that is made from these looms. Like, is it all interconnected? Is there any connection between the looms and the magical things in these caverns? I'm trying to see what the connections are.
So you want the group of us to have one for like sampling's sake, not necessarily for us each to have an article of clothing.
Bingo.
To go in with. Okay.
He says, of course, I will have, you said a shawl. I will have a shawl brought over, and I'll have it delivered with that gear that I mentioned, in case that's helpful. Is there anything else I can provide? Am I to understand that you will accept this job? We will, of course, pay.
You had us at adventure party.
He looks so relieved, and he downs the rest of his wine, and he goes to stand up, and he sits back down, and he says, "Is there anything else you need?"
What was your son's name?
And he touches the where his pocket watch is, and he says, my son's name is Jason. His brother, Jeremy, I have to stop him every year from going down there after him.
They're twins?
Yes. We were blessed with twins, and I thank the gods every day that I only lost one of them.
Do you have a photo?
He touches his pocket watch again, and he pulls it out, and he flips it open, and inside is a painting of two identical boys, and they look very much like their father, but they've got hair. And one of the boys has the hair sort of slicked back, and the other one's hair is just wild. One of them has a scrubbly beard. The one with the hair that's wild has a scrubbly beard, and the one with the hair slicked down is all clean shaven. But they're dressed identically, and they look identical.
Which one's which?
As he's opening it, he runs a finger along the boy with the wild hair and the scrubble, and looks sad.
We'll do what we can.
And he says, "I thank you. I'll have those things brought tomorrow morning. We're happy to. Leanne will take care of any outfitting you'll need. I'll have a word with her on my way out, and we hope to see you We hope to see you. We hope to see you back here. And he stands up. If no one's gonna stop him, he's gonna head on out. Tip of a invisible hat. All right, he books it out of there. I am going to end this. I'm gonna end this.
Hat.
Yeah, you know what I mean. He's just like ladies. We're gonna end the session fairly soon. What do you all want to have a conversation cleanup, or want to jump into our game cleanup? You want to leave it there, or any last thoughts?
I don't have anything. Just acknowledging that the tone, if the tone isn't sad in the room, it's tender, and just sitting in that for a minute.
Yeah.
I think everybody notices that Winnie looks very determined. Yeah. Like she's got another layer to this mission for her to try and figure out what happened to Jason and try and bring something home for the mayor.
After the time these people have spent together, can I ask you, is Winnie okay with, like, contact, like personal space contact stuff?
I think she is with people that she's
facial expression
really
of thinking.
It's just like
the silence said it all.
Yeah.
Like with the very first, I forget her name now, the person that we met who we freed from the night hag.
Tina.
Oh yeah, Tina.
Right, like Tina was a very, very close friend that was basically like a sister to Winnie, and she was very like affectionate and close, but there really hasn't, between our friend group here, our little adventure group, been very much contact or affection. So I don't know if that's something you'd like to try out. You're more than welcome to try.
So for this to make sense, spoilers, stream, we have a chat as players that we talk to with each other, so we don't interrupt everyone while we're playing.
Yes.
And I wrote that Yume scoots closer to Winnie, and I've been conscious of this, like, so Yume has been she's a pretty affectionate person, and kind of like, that's, calling back to scenes where, like, I think there was physical contact with Tina and Freya back in the first adventure, and just like when Yume was upset with, or
yeah,
she held hands with Battle for a minute when things were intense on the train.
Yep.
So she's just that kind of like physical, affectionate type of person. But I acknowledge, well, I think Yume more noticed, like, oh, I want to make Winnie feel comfortable because I know she's sad here. So I had the thought process of scooting closer to her. Oh, wait a minute, maybe she's not comfortable with that. Maybe we should give her some space.
Well,
So I'm getting more into like thought process, roleplay stuff more than action, but I wanted to talk that out.
Yeah, I think Yume's the kind of person that would be able to pick up on, like, to start the action and pick up on whether that would be welcome. Would that sound like something Yume would do?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Didn't know how to do that in character speaking or with action or anything, but I wanted to have that, like...
What we just did worked just fine. So let's say Yume starts to scoot closer to Winnie. How does Winnie lean away? Does Winnie let it happen?
No, Winnie lets it happen.
Okay, so Yume thinks it's at least on the surface welcome, leans into Winnie. Does Winnie lean back?
Just make a gesture to let you know that she's there for you and get it, like, being close without getting too close.
Like a gentle shoulder bump, like I'm here for you, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I love the awkward shoulder bumps. It's the best. But yeah, I think Winnie kind of like looks over at Yume and smiles a little bit with like a sad smile, kind of acknowledging like, not. I mean, it's close as I think Winnie would get in this moment to saying thank you for being here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Great. Okay. Any other last things, or ready to jump into the learns?
Just that Aelia would have observed that sort of out the corner of her hood with interest and stored it away to think about.
Okay, Battle, you good? Anything you want to add? Okay. We are going to move into the cleanup we do for Broken Bane. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask the players what they learned this evening. Then what I'm going to do is ask them to give me good role-playing moments. I'll write those role-playing moments down, and the players will vote on them. Whoever gets the top vote has a role-playing point for next time. We did decide as a group last time that a role-playing point can be given from the person who has it to somebody else in a moment. That didn't come up today, so I'm just reminding you. Chat, I accept role-playing moments from chat, so if anybody saw anything they really liked, dump them right into chat. Alright, what'd y'all learn this evening?
Twins and triplets are everywhere.
There's strange genetics in this town.
At this point, Battle's suspicious of everyone and everything out of this town. But she's got a conspiracy theory that whatever's down in that cavern is probably magical and is putting everybody under a spell.
Aelia learnt about Winnie and a little bit of history about Winnie and made observations about the group and is, you know, really hoping that they're for real and amazed that maybe they are.
Did you learn about Winnie or Yume?
I learnt about I learnt about Winnie through my observations of that interaction. I did totally muddle that up. But learnt about Yume through the conversation. Learnt, you know, about her, what she shared with me.
And you...
I think through that we kind of learned a little bit about Aelia as well. That it, at least to me, doesn't seem like she has experienced a lot of kindness in her life.
Okay.
Which is also very sad.
Yes.
There was a lot of sad feelings today.
Let's get sad. Let's get sad.
All the feelings. Cool. What else do you learn?
That people who go into the caverns come out changed, in that they're fixated and they perseverate on what they saw, but what they report changes each time with the telling.
What's perseverate mean?
Fixate, talk around and around and around, and go back again, and
we call that looping in my house, but yeah, that works.
Looping works.
It is associated with autism as well, perseveration.
Yup. We loop like whoa. I was doing that earlier today, and Aaron very gently, my husband very gently goes, "You're looping," and I go, "Yep." It's helpful. Okay, what else did you learn this evening?
I also call it rabbit holing. We learned that everybody loves peaches.
Not everyone.
Well,
I mean,
that's
just Aelia.
They make Winnie sad.
I
mean, the people in the town are like, yeah, peach ale, peach. Oof, this has to be a lot for Winnie.
It was just Leanne. She had the peach ale, and then it's really Aelia, because Aelia really got a kick out of the peach ale, and then Aelia, I asked if she was okay with a peach pie, so it was just me being a dork.
Okay.
What else?
We learned that Yume is really excited about the prospect of a loom monster.
Yep.
We did.
And there's the open arm game in front of the caverns.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the things that people have reportedly seen in the caverns.
I know I'm just taking another one from a different angle, but like Winnie is sensitive to it was gonna come out a way I didn't intend it to. Winnie is sensitive to peaches, but that's not what I mean.
Yeah.
When he
There's
gets
something
sad,
about
He's triggered by peaches.
when peaches make Winnie sad.
That's a bright way of saying it.
I just have a thought of sort of more related to the game than a learning thing, but Mayor said he'd bring us a cog with inscriptions. Is he still gonna do that, or did we miss an opportunity?
No, he said he'd bring
please.
that and the shawl.
Yeah.
Okay, that was noise. I'm sorry. That's great. I'm writing that down.
I know you've got kids.
We learned that the
mayor
is going to bring us a cog.
And a shawl.
So that way, Suspicious Belle can test experiments.
What else do y'all learn?
Well, I kind of learned about as this character takes life that Aelia really, really likes sweet stuff, which in real life Virginia doesn't. But
interesting.
That's neat.
That was fun.
I'll have to remember that. I love sweet stuff. I'll bring over like yogurt or something to your house. All right. Anything else you learned? Are you ready for the role-playing points? Role-playing moments.
I did learn that there were 2 potential theories for what is in the caverns, things. Right. One is like a malevolent spirit of some kind, and then the other was like an eccentric weirdo or something.
Oh, did I lose someone?
She's just coming back.
Okay.
Well, in the same vein of Aelia, like self-realizations about our characters, if that counts as learning.
It super does.
This will probably surprise no one, but Yume gets very happy when other people around her enjoy good food. That is a very pleasing thing to her. Very important to be well fed and to enjoy food.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, is she worried when somebody isn't?
Yes.
So she definitely would have picked up on Winnie kind of picking at the pie.
Yeah. I think...
In a modern day AU, she's the one texting you going, "Did you eat today? Do you have enough water today?"
I love it.
Do you want me to send you some cookies? Okay. Anything else you learned? You ready to move into the role-playing points?
Let's move into
Let's do role-playing points. Yeah. Let's see.
Oh, question.
Mm-hmm.
If any of our viewers are thinking anything similar, or if I'm the only one, that's fine. But I am a viewer of another one of your streams. Are a Broken Bane mysterious gears at all related to the mysterious gears in Treasure Tuesdays?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. That's an interesting question.
Okay. That's an answer.
Mm-hmm. Ow. Dang it. I just snapped a nail off of my desk. That hurt.
Oh no.
Yeah, role-playing points. What? Role-playing moments. What do we got?
There was so much role-playing tonight.
Yeah.
Winnie's sad peaches.
Winnie's sad peaches. Winnie's... I'm spelling it right? Yeah. Sad peaches. Got it.
The DM got about 6 role-playing points.
No.
At different
No, the DM doesn't get role-playing points. If you want me to write them down, I will write them down. But I don't want you to vote on them because I don't want to be able to re-roll a 20.
What battle?
Sheep bits or lamb bits. I don't remember what it was, but that was the one that I was like, this needs to be a thing.
Sheep bits, yeah.
Spoon was just on point with NPC role-playing all night. It was just incredible.
I appreciate that. I don't actually think of myself as good at the NPCs, so I really love it when y'all enjoy them. What'll get me later is you've got a very definite idea of what this NPC looks like, and if I try to play her again later, it'll be different. So I try really hard to be like, nope, you'll never see her again, kind of thing.
I think Yume scooting over to Winnie was pretty nice.
No, I did spell that right. It's Y-U-M-E-I, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Don't know why that is bothered. I can't do that tonight. Okay, cool. What else?
And Battle avoiding the food surreptitiously.
Battle's been burned by other situations where she got a little too comfortable and all of a sudden she started glowing green, and she has not forgotten that.
Well, there you go.
Battle's suspicion in general was pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was awesome.
And I loved Aelia's whole thing with the ice cream. I thought that was amazing. Like, not knowing what ice cream was and trying it for the first time with her hood up and, like, sneakily taking a bite, wanting to have, like, a private moment with the ice cream.
I have a feeling that's gonna happen again. Desserts. Freedom, kindness.
Yes, it's a wild new world for Aelia. Right, other good role-playing moments.
Stumped.
Those good? Go ahead and vote. Yeah, that's okay. There's plenty. Go ahead and vote. We've got Winnie's Sad Peaches. I didn't get any from chat. Winnie's Sad Peaches. Yume scooting over to Winnie. Battle surreptitiously avoiding the food. Has not forgotten glowing green. Battle suspicious in general. Aelia's first encounter with ice cream. Not knowing what it was. Putting her head up to try it privately. I like that y'all are voting with my spoon emotes. Just need one more.
I'm having trouble because I'm blind. I'm going with
I'm sorry about that.
Aelia's first encounter with ice cream.
Got it. Do you mind if I just pop a spoon on there for you?
Please do.
Okay. So Yumi's going to take it for scooting over to Winnie. We did get a vote for Battle surreptitiously avoiding the food. And Aelia's first encounter with ice cream, not knowing what it was and putting her head up to try it privately. All good moments this evening. I really enjoyed them. And with that, we're good for this evening. I think for let's go ahead and is anybody wow, I can't talk. Does anyone have something they would like to share where the internet can find them over the next week? Or you do anything cool that somebody can tune into? Anything you want to share like that? I am seeing head shakes. Okay, cool. Okay, so I do not have a brunches with dragons tomorrow. I needed to move things around, but I think so. I don't think I'm going to be streaming anything tomorrow other than maybe Spiritfarer because I can't stop streaming Spiritfarer, which is a video game. And then we should be back next week with Treasure Tuesday. Hopefully, I won't have the same week I had this last week and have to cancel a bunch of stuff. So. Thank goodness this one's on a weekend and I don't have to work all day and then have spoons to play D&D. And then I've been pinged for real this time, with some humans that want to do another Dungeons and Doggos. I'm hoping it'll be streamed, but as you know, I don't always stream those, but know that one of those is happening. So if anybody's interested, and I need 2 more people, so if anybody else has never played D&D before or wants to see how another GM does it or wants something to do, ping me at Like7Spoon on Twitter. That's how I arrange these, and I'll get you added to the group. All right, we are, with that, I believe we are going to say goodbye, Stream. So, everybody, together now. Bye, Stream.
Bye,
Bye,
Stream.